Well, it's a bit early for a drink because it's only 10:15. So I'm here to get the 1026 from York on Grand Central. It's my first ride on Grand Central, so looking forward to this. I got a first class ticket, so we'll see how well you get pampered by Grand Central. York Station is a wonderful station, and we had a closer look at it when I came through here on a previous video. But nevertheless, it's always great, isn't it, to just spend time at some beautiful stations like this. This train runs from Sunderland, and this is the last stop before it carries on to King's Cross. It'll be a Class 180 Adelante diesel hydraulic multiple unit. I've ridden on these trains before when I used to travel from Exeter to London for work and had to catch the 552, which was always an Adelante set. But these have all been refurbished since those days, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this one goes. And I never mind spending a little bit of time at York, because there's always something new you find. And I'm in coach E, and that's zone 5. And here comes our Class 180 spot on time. And close up, I think the black and yellow looks pretty good, and if it works for the Pittsburgh Steelers, then why not Grand Central too? And now there's a big platform shuffle as the unit is running in reverse order to what the station signage actually said. Still, it's not a very long train, so we're soon at our door. And first class is certainly very busy on this Monday morning. Our first impressions are good. These seats look very welcoming. Right, now I've got sat down, let's have a look at our route for today. Unusually for me, I've included the earlier stops in the map to show a little more of the Grand Central offering. Essentially, they offer a direct London service from these northeastern towns, not serviced by LNER electric trains. So, from York we'll be running non-stop, although that doesn't mean we'll be much faster than LNER trains that make stops, as our path doesn't really allow it. For example, the following LNER service from York, with 3 stops on the way, is scheduled to take just 3 minutes longer than we will. So, bearing all that in mind, we'll complete the 303 kilometres, or 188.5 miles, in 2 hours and 5 minutes. Well, this is unusual for me, leaving York for London on a diesel and also sitting on the right-hand side, as I usually sit on the left coming out of Edinburgh to get the views coming down through Berwick, Newcastle and Durham. Right, now we're underway, let's have a look at this seat. And here's the seat. I shot this when we arrived into King's Cross. These seats were very, very comfortable. Anyway, back to our journey. Legroom is pretty good, but nothing to write home about. And there's 3-pin and USB power, although I'd probably have to share this with the gentleman sat to my left. And of course there's a tray table which is metal and sturdy. The decals on the window don't really block your view, and I think they do add quite a classy touch. Although for first class there's no blind and no reading light, although there are little dents showing where you might have got a reading light if you'd paid more for your refurbishment. And the overhead luggage racks, they're not that big, but I suppose they're ample. And finally, no electronics here, it's all paper reservation markers. And with that we cross the River Don and we're heading into Doncaster. Well, so much for non-stop as we get held at Doncaster on one of the through lines, but at least only for a minute. And after Doncaster we kind of get up to what will be our top speed on this journey, I think. And at Retford we pass over the Sheffield to Gainsborough line. I think age is showing on these units as the ride quality at speed doesn't match the new 800 series trains. Grand Central have the Journey Central portal, where you can order your at-seat refreshments. When you enter your seat number, it detects you are in first class and offers up the free options. But don't get excited, you can only order 2 complimentary items from this list in first, so this is hardly the full service option that you would get on Avanti or LNER. Still, my order does arrive in about 5 minutes. And once we're crossing the River Trent, look out for the Newark Flat crossover. and we pass Newark Northgate spot on time at 11:12. So here's my first class free offering, 1 cup of Earl Grey tea and a pan au chocolat, and I did get given a water when I boarded on the train, but that was it. Just north of Grantham, we're joined by the line from Nottingham. At Helpston Junction, the line from Birmingham and Leicester runs parallel, giving us a 6-track line for a while. The £200 million Warrington Dive Under was opened in December 2021. It allows freight trains to pass onto the Spalding-Lincoln-Doncaster route without having to cross the East Coast Mainline. This first use in the UK of a curved box jack system was built with minimum disruption and has led to a major increase in line capacity through Peterborough. Under our wheels now is the cast iron Nene Viaduct, which was built in 1850 to carry the Great Northern Main Line over the River Nene. It's said now to be the only cast iron bridge on UK mainline railways. Right, it's time to have a look at the rest of the train. Second class looks to be mainly airline seating and is a bit cramped, thanks to the heavy loading we have today. There's carpet near the seats, but there's nothing on the walkway. And I suppose it's fine to block up the accessible area once we got south of York. Something notable about these Adelantes is that the carriage end vestibules feel huge, and the inclusion of the tip-up seat by the door is very helpful when the train becomes overcrowded. And something I've never seen before is this little switch to alter the coach letter indicator. As the trains are getting a bit old, I think it's worth having a quick look at the toilet. And, well, the accessible toilet was looking pretty good, and everything worked okay, including a choice of 2 different soaps. The old first-class servery is now just a storage area, as all the preparation is done in the cafe. The sight of Thameslink trains reminds us that we are now getting closer to London, so it's probably time to look at what this journey cost me. Booking well in advance, I paid £41.25, or about €47, for this first class single, but that includes a 1/3 railcard discount. So without it, you would pay nearer £62, which is a little bit cheaper than LNER, but not much. The 40-arch Digswell or Welwyn Viaduct was opened in 1850 and is 475 metres long. At Alexandra Palace Station, if you look back, you can get a pretty good view of the palace itself, and it still has the old transmitter tower in place. At King's Cross, the staff immediately set to preparing the train for its 12:56 return working. And so here we are at London King's Cross, and we made it with our Adelante. It offers a special service, I think, for the people with the pickups up in the north near Sunderland. It's pretty like Hull Trains does. Yeah, then it's full speed ahead for York, although it isn't quite full speed ahead. We never really got above 180-ish kilometers per hour. Never made the full 200 kilometers per hour, but that's okay. We were just rolling along. And what were the refurbished Class 180s like? I suppose you could say they were okay. They're about 20 years or more old now, and I think you can tell as you're travelling at speed it's a little bit noisy with the diesel engines, and also at really high speed just south of York it really was a bit rough really. But that's not to say I'm going to give them nothing out of 10, because I think the overall cabin experience was fine and the staff were great. Everything came to your seat, nice cup of tea, that's all you got, fair enough. But yeah, probably just say starting to show your age a bit, so there we are. Well, that was York to London with Grand Central. I hope you enjoyed this trip report, and if you did, then give it a like. And if you haven't already, then also consider subscribing to the channel, as I release a new trip report every Friday. But in the meantime, from London King's Cross, it's goodbye and thanks for watching.